What you focus on, you'll attract. Not because the world rewards attention, but because attention is the seed of creation. Whatever you hold in consciousness, whether in delight or dread, must grow. It is law. It is the unseen root beneath every visible effect. And until man masters this truth, he will continue to mistake his own harvest for fate. Look back on your life, and you will see the things that stayed longest were the things you looked at longest. Not always with love, but always with belief. You fed them with thought, watered them with repetition, and gave them shelter in the sanctuary of your awareness. And they bloomed, even if they were weeds, even if they strangled the joy out of your days. For the soil does not judge the seed, it grows whatever is planted. Man cries for change, but clings to the familiar. He speaks of new desires while bowing to old fears. He repeats affirmations in the morning, then rehearses doubt by noon. And so his garden grows both fruit and thorn, a divided mind producing a divided life. But you are not here to live divided. You are not here to drift among circumstances like a leaf on the wind. You are here to take hold of your inner world, to master the direction of your gaze, and to understand that what you persist in imagining with feeling must externalize itself. This is not idle philosophy. This is the foundation of all reality. Emerson knew it when he wrote, "We become what we think about all day long." James Allen echoed it. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But long before them, it was spoken in sacred texts, carved into stone, passed down through prophets. As within, so without. The world mirrors your dominant state. It does not reflect your fleeting wishes. It does not bend to your hopeful pleas. It moves for the one who feels the unseen as real, who lives as though the prayer were already answered. And yet man forgets. He looks to appearances for truth, and in doing so, cements the very things he hopes to escape. He stares at lack and wonders why abundance won't find him. He obsesses over illness and wonders why health seems so distant. But what he does not see is that his focus is fuel, and the fire burns wherever his gaze remains. To attract differently, you must see differently. Not with your eyes, but with your inner vision. The eyes report the past. Vision reveals the future. And what you continue to behold in imagination with feeling will harden into fact. Consider the lives of those who changed the world, not by force, but by focus. Edison did not invent the light because he chased what was. He gave all his mind to what could be. Lincoln led not because he reacted to division, but because he held a vision of unity so clear it drew the nation back to center. Carnegie built an empire, not because he studied poverty, but because he assumed wealth with the devotion of a priest. What you revere in thought, you summon in form. What you dwell upon, you invite. And what you reject inwardly, yet continue to fearfully watch, you secretly keep alive. So the question is not whether you are attracting, you always are. The question is, what are you attracting? What feast have you prepared in consciousness, and do you want to eat of its fruit? Shift your gaze, and you shift your life. But do it not once. Do it not in desperation. Do it daily, deliberately, in stillness. Enter your chamber, close the door, and see the world as you desire it to be. Not as it was, not as it appears, as it must become. Focus is not willpower, it is surrender. It is the quiet discipline of returning again and again to the image of your choosing, even while the senses scream otherwise. It is not the loud insistence of the anxious. It is the calm knowing of the Creator. You do not need to fight the old. You only need to persist in the new. And as you do, the old withers from lack of attention, while the new takes root, rises up, and claims its place as the new fact of your life. This is how the invisible becomes visible. This is how reality bends, not to effort, but to assumption, not to struggle, but to focus. You are always selecting, always tuning, always shaping. Every thought a thread, every feeling a sculptor's hand. And the image you hold most often becomes the world you walk within. So choose. Choose with intention. Choose with reverence. Choose as one who knows that the unseen is more powerful than the seen, and that to focus is to invoke the very forces of creation. There is a silence more powerful than thunder. It is the silence of a man or woman who has made a decision, not out of desperation, but of dominion. The kind of decision that isn't loud, but eternal. Most never make it. They waver, wander, and wonder why the world never bends for them. But the ones who choose with clarity, they do not hope. They know. They focus like a sharpened blade, and the universe cannot help but reflect that focus back as form, because what you give your attention to gives itself back to you. Your life is not random, it is a mirror, and the mirror is not cruel, it is obedient. It does not care what you wish, or even what you want. It reflects only what you are focused upon, within. You cannot gaze at the shadow and expect the light to answer. You cannot fix your eyes on failure and ask success to arrive. What you focus on, you fertilize. What you water with thought grows. What you speak with feeling blooms. And if the soil of your mind is soaked in doubt, fear, and rehearsed limitation, then no wonder the garden gives you more weeds. But if you dare to focus upon the unseen in defiance of the seen, to lift your eyes from the dust to the dream, to say in the face of emptiness, I am full, then even the impossible must move. This is not a theory, it is law, and those who have changed history have known it, whether they wore crowns or walked alone. Edison, who failed 1,000 times, kept his eyes not on the darkness, but on the light yet to be born. Lincoln, broken by loss and surrounded by doubt, fixed his focus not on war, but on unity, yet unseen. Carnegie, the poor boy in the steel town, did not see rags. He saw empires before the first coin touched his hand. They focused, and the world complied. So ask yourself, what do you focus on when no one is watching? What inner conversation do you rehearse when the lights go out? For that is the true prayer, not the words spoken in temples or whispered in desperate hours, but the quiet, consistent direction of your attention. And attention sustained with emotion becomes belief, and belief lived out becomes experience. It does not matter how long you've walked in shadow. One shift of focus, one true unwavering gaze toward what you desire, and the entire architecture of your life begins to change. Because where attention goes, energy follows, and where energy flows, reality grows. Do you not see it? The world has never been against you. It simply cannot give you what your attention denies. You say you want peace, yet you think only of conflict. You long for wealth, yet you focus on lack. You ache for love, but you stare only at absence. That contradiction, that split focus, is why life seems silent, not because it isn't listening, but because it is obeying two masters, and a house divided cannot stand. But the moment you become single-minded, the moment your attention and your desire become one, then the bridge of incidents begins to form. You meet people you've never planned to meet. Doors open you never knew existed. Ideas arrive in the quiet. The path appears beneath your feet, not all at once, but step by divine step. And still, most will call it luck. They will call it timing. They will call it coincidence. But you will know. You will know that it was your focus, sharpened like a sword and held longer than the world thought possible, that split the veil. You held it when the evidence said no. You held it when the bank account was bare. You held it when the voices around you asked if you were mad. And because you held the image, not as fantasy, but as fact, the world had no choice. It had to conform. For the outer is not the cause. It is the echo. And you are the voice that begins the sound. The foolish wait for the echo to change, as if yelling into a canyon will alter its response by accident. But the wise know, change the word, and the echo follows. So the question is not whether the universe works. The question is, what are you commanding it to become through your focus? Every thought you revisit is a vote. Every emotion you repeat is a contract. Every vision you return to with conviction is a silent decree. This is not about forced effort. This is about faithful alignment. Effort may push the river, but alignment allows it to carry you. And when your focus aligns with what you seek, not in desperation, but in knowing, then manifestation becomes not a miracle, but a certainty. Consider the architect. He draws the plan before a single brick is laid, and though the land is still dirt, he walks it as though the structure already towers above him. He speaks of windows, not mud, of angles, not chaos, of purpose, not problems. Why? Because his mind holds the completed image, and he knows that what is built in imagination is more real than the dust before him. The dust will obey. So must your world. But how long will you entertain two visions? How long will you pray for the mountain to move while staring at its size? How long will you speak of freedom while bowing to circumstance? Choose, focus, cut away the counterfeit, and remain in the assumption until the assumption becomes the flesh of your life. You are not required to know how, only to know what, and to fix your gaze so fully on it that even heaven must take notice. Think of the greats, not as lucky, but as loyal, loyal to a vision unseen, loyal to an inner reality they would not betray. Even when mocked, rejected, betrayed, they kept their focus, and life, ever the mirror, kept its promise. The one who focuses with faith has no need to chase, for what is focused upon with feeling is drawn. It must come, it must take form, it must wear your name, for you are the one who gave it breath. You need not force the flower to bloom. You align with the season, and your focus is the season. Where it goes, life grows. So send it with precision. Do not scatter it on fears. Do not waste it on appearances. Do not dilute it with doubt. Speak what you wish to see. Feel what you wish to hold. Live now as if the future had already obeyed. Because in truth, it has. It is already done in the realm that matters most, and your focus is the bridge that brings it home. Hold it. Guard it. Let it possess you. And do not let the noise of the world become louder than the whisper of your desire. For in that whisper is power, and in your focus is the entire structure of your unfolding life. You see, this power to shape your life is no accident. It is the very essence of your being, a divine inheritance waiting to be claimed. The ancient masters understood this well. They spoke in parables and symbols not to confuse, but to awaken the sleeping mind. They knew that the outer world bends not to the sword or the coin, but to the unseen world of thought, feeling, and sustained attention. Jesus did not heal by waving hands alone, but by commanding belief. He told the blind, "Your faith has made you whole," not because the faith was magic, but because faith is the force that shifts reality. And you too are that force. Every day you awaken, you stand at the crossroads of creation. One path leads to wandering aimlessly through circumstance, held captive by the illusions of limitation. The other path leads straight to the throne of your desire, where reality itself bends and reshapes according to your will. Which path you walk depends solely on where you place your focus. To fix your gaze upon lack is to starve the soul. To fix your gaze upon possibility is to feed it with sunlight. To fix your gaze upon victory is to claim it as your own. Look at Edison. How many times did he face darkness? How many failures stacked like stones against his vision? Yet his focus never faltered. He did not see failure. He saw the light just beyond the horizon, and his mind held it so firmly that the world was forced to comply. Lincoln, amid the chaos of a divided nation, chose to see unity. He focused not on the fracture, but on the healing. And history remembers him not for the war, but for the peace he planted in the soil of conflict. These were men who mastered their focus, and through it, mastered their fate. The same power flows within you. You must recognize it, claim it, and act as its faithful steward. The moment you discipline your attention, choosing with fierce intention what you will nurture and what you will discard, is the moment you rise above the mass of those swept by circumstance. The world will offer distractions, shadows that whisper doubt, fear, and delay. But you must not yield. You must train your mind to return again and again to the vision that calls you. This is no small task. It requires the strength of 1,000 wills. It demands patience that outlasts the seasons. It calls for a faith that remains unshaken by what appears. But here lies the secret. Your focus is your prayer, your imagination is your altar, and your feeling is the sacred flame. Together they form the triad of creation. To focus without feeling is like lighting a candle without fuel. The flame flickers and dies. To feel without focus is like fuel without fire, potential wasted. But to focus and feel, to hold the vision so clearly and so deeply that your entire being vibrates with it, is to ignite a fire the heavens cannot ignore. The very laws of the universe bend toward you. The invisible becomes visible. The dream takes flesh. So rise each day with a warrior's heart. Fix your eyes on what you desire as though you have already received it. Speak the language of the fulfilled mind. Feel the emotions of the achieved soul. Live not as one hoping to become, but as one who already is. You do not need the world's permission. You only need your own conviction. And when you do this with relentless devotion, you become a beacon, a force that calls what is yours to your doorstep. Nothing can resist the power of focused intention coupled with feeling. This is your birthright. This is your weapon. This is your way home. The mind that is mastered becomes the instrument of miracles, not miracles that defy law, but miracles that fulfill it. For the greatest law is this: as within, so without. You were never meant to react to life like a leaf blown by the wind. You were meant to direct it, like a ship carved through still and storm alike. And the compass, your only true compass, is focus. Focus held not briefly, but relentlessly. Focus unshaken by delay, unbothered by appearance. Focus so deep, it becomes a dwelling place. And once you dwell in the end, not visit, not wish for, but abide in it, then the end becomes your beginning. It reaches back through time, rearranges the path, and delivers what you dared to claim. You need not fight to bring it to pass. You need not toil like one forgotten by the heavens. The farmer does not scream at the soil to grow. He plants, he waters, he waits, and yet he knows. He knows the harvest must come. So must your desires. But you must plant the seed of attention, water it with feeling, guard it from the weeds of doubt, and wait, not with anxiety, but with assurance. Every master knew this. Walt Disney saw castles where swamps stood. Ford saw vehicles for the people when the world still clung to horses. These men walked by vision, not by sight. They lived from their future before it arrived, and the world followed. So what of you? Will you keep giving your attention to what was, to what isn't, to what they said you could never have? Or will you lift your gaze? Will you choose to look upon your desire as done, not because you see it, but because you have focused upon it with such persistence that it has no choice but to be? This is not about fantasy. It's about faith, not blind faith, but living, breathing, soul-deep certainty. The kind of faith that rests not on the world's reaction, but on the inner knowing that what you focus on with love and conviction must wrap itself in form and meet you on the road. And in the quiet of your heart, when the voices fall away, you know this is true. You felt it before. That subtle pull, that quiet echo that whispers, it's already yours. Just don't look away. So don't. Do not look away. Do not look down. Do not look back. Hold the vision. Let it burn brighter than the fear. Let it speak louder than the doubt. Let it become your prayer, your posture, your path for what you focus on. With your heart, your words, your imagination, and your belief, you will attract, not because it's magic, because it's law. And law, when honored, never fails. You cannot deceive the law. You cannot trick it with empty words while your heart trembles in contradiction. It responds not to what you say once, but to what you dwell upon, to what you feel into being again and again in secret. For the truth is this: you are always attracting. Even now you are calling forth some version of life. The question is not whether you're creating. The question is, what are you creating by default? Because to focus without direction is to drift. And to drift is to hand over your power to appearances. But you were not born to drift. You were born to decide. And decision, real soul-rooted decision, is focus made flesh. The moment you decide that you are the one, not tomorrow, not after more proof, but now in full possession of your desire, then the wind begins to change. Reality is not stubborn, it is obedient, but it obeys only one voice, the voice of the inner master. That voice is not loud, it doesn't beg, it doesn't argue with appearances, it simply knows, and from that knowing it focuses, and from that focus it receives. When the sculptor begins his work, he does not cry over the stone. He does not worry about what is not yet revealed. He simply sees within the marble what others cannot see, and he removes everything that is not the vision. Your life is the same. Your focus is the chisel. Your imagination is the form. Your feeling is the hand that brings it forth. But will you carve? Will you remain fixed on what you know lives within you, even when the outside says otherwise? This is the test. And it has always been the test, to believe when there's no reason to speak when no one else understands, to walk as though the ground has already risen to meet your feet, not because you're pretending, but because you know the power of what you focus upon. Let others panic, let others chase, let others wait for signs. You create the signs. You speak the word, you hold the vision, and reality bends to you. The seen bows to the unseen. The future flows to the focused, but only if you stay. Stay in the assumption. Stay in the end. Stay with unwavering eyes fixed on what you've claimed. For if you look away, the image dissolves. But if you hold longer than the storm, longer than the delay, longer than the noise of the old world collapsing, then you will find yourself standing in the very scene you once visited only in mind, and no one will understand how it came to be. But you will, because you did not focus on the world, you focused on the truth, and the truth made itself visible. And when it comes, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel familiar. It will feel like home, because you've already lived it 1,000 times in imagination, in the quiet hours when no one else saw, when no one else believed, when the world offered you reasons to quit and you refused. You kept your gaze. You walked through the valley with your eyes fixed on the mountaintop, and the mountaintop moved to meet you. This is the reward of the focused soul, not a reward handed out by fate, but one summoned, commanded, and received by law. You need no applause. You need no proof. You need only the courage to remain loyal to your vision when everything else is asking for your attention. This is not a soft thing. This is not wishful thinking. This is discipline. This is fire. This is the quiet might of those who bend history. Alexander conquered with armies, but you conquer with attention, one inner conquest at a time. Every time you feel fear and focus anyway, you win. Every time you hear the whisper of doubt, but stay the course, you win. Every time you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not just think it, but live it, you move the very stars. You become magnetic. People cannot explain it, but they feel it, because your focus is no longer scattered. It is sovereign, it is unified, and what is unified cannot be denied. This is the secret behind all transformation. The inner image must become more real than the outer fact. The assumption must become more solid than the stone in front of you, and once it is, the stone must yield. Even the hardest circumstances crumble beneath the one who refuses to focus on them, not by denying reality, but by choosing a higher one, by remaining faithful to the unseen reality until it becomes the scene. That is the only difference between a prisoner and a king. Not blood, not wealth, not luck, but focus. What one believes is fixed, the other believes is changing. What one accepts, the other reshapes. What one watches passively, the other commands with vision. And now you know what you are. Not a servant to chance, but a master of choice. Not a follower of facts, but a creator of states. Not a body in a world, but a world that bends to the body of belief. You have always held this power, but power unused is power unrealized. Today, now, in this moment, you remember. You remember that your focus is the womb of creation, that your word is seed, that your feeling is rain, and that your sustained assumption is the sun that brings it all to life. So plant wisely, speak faithfully, feel boldly, and return again and again to the image that stirs your soul, not just once, not just when it's easy, but always. For that is what the masters do, that is what the awakened do, and that is what you are now becoming. So now stand tall, not in arrogance, but in remembrance. You are not becoming powerful. You have always been power itself, cloaked in forgetfulness, waiting to be claimed. The world did not make you. You made the world you see, and if you do not like what has appeared, you have only to turn your gaze inward to the only altar that matters. Your imagination, your assumption, your focus, all change begins there. All creation flows from there. All miracles rise from the dust the moment you dare to hold the image with such unwavering intensity that the image must step into flesh. This is not about repeating empty words. It is not about forcing life with anxious hands. It is about living from the end, dwelling in the fulfilled vision, and trusting that the path will unfold in divine order. The door opens the moment you stop knocking and begin walking. The river flows when you release the need to push, and reality shifts when you focus like one who knows it is done. So speak not of what you lack. Speak of what you've chosen. Speak of it as already yours, because in the only realm that matters, it is. Let the world call you delusional. Let the crowd mock what they cannot see. They will in time ask how you did it, and you will smile because you did not chase, you claimed. You did not strive, you focused. You did not beg, you believed. Every step you take in assumption is a prayer. Every moment you feel the wish fulfilled is a sacred act. And every time you return to that feeling, you are writing your future with invisible ink. And though the world may not see it now, they will read it in your results. They will witness it in the life that blooms around you. Because what you focus on, you attract. Not as theory, not as hope, but as law. Unbreakable, immutable, divine. So choose wisely, focus faithfully, and live as though it were already yours. Because it is, and it has always been. You were never waiting on life. Life was waiting on your focus. And now that you remember, not merely with the mind, but with the soul, walk as one who knows. Let your posture reflect your decision. Let your breath carry the rhythm of certainty. Let your inner speech rise each morning, not with questions, but with declarations. Say to yourself, I am the architect of all I see. I do not beg reality. I command it with the power of my focus. I do not chase what is mine. I attract it, for I have already claimed it. I do not wonder if it's coming. I know it already is. This is the posture of creation. This is how worlds shift, not with struggle, not with striving, but with stillness drenched in knowing. And when the winds of doubt rise, as they surely will, you return. Again and again you return. You return to the state. You return to the vision. You return to the feeling. Because this is what the masters do. They do not entertain what they do not wish to manifest. They do not water the weeds with attention. They starve doubt by feasting on certainty. And while others scatter their energy to the winds of circumstance, you gather yours into a flame. A quiet, holy, unstoppable flame that draws all things unto it. This is the fire of focus. This is the force that bends time. This is the essence of your birthright. So from this day forward, let the world feel your decision. Let your silence speak louder than words. Let your vision become more real than the facts. Let your assumption carry more weight than the past. And watch as the invisible gathers to become visible. Watch as life reconfigures itself to match your inner stance. Watch as your desired reality, the one you have faithfully focused upon, walks through the veil and becomes your everyday. For this is not fiction. This is not mysticism. This is law. And the law, once obeyed, cannot fail you. So go, not in haste, but in conviction, not in fear, but in fullness. And remember, what you focus on, you'll attract. What you assume, you'll become. And what you feel as real must be made real, not because you are lucky, but because you are limitless, because you are the cause, because you are the power. And now you know it. And now that this truth lives in you, not as theory, but as marrow, let there be no turning back. You were not sent here to live by the winds of chance. You were not born to echo the world's doubts. You came to remember that within you is the law that governs all laws, the law that shapes kings, builds empires, heals the body, awakens nations, and that law is attention sustained by belief. What you focus on, you impress upon the formless. What you impress returns clothed in experience. So hold fast. Hold with the strength of one who has seen the end and called it good. Let your focus be clean. Let it be pure. Let it be unwavering, as the sun that rises each day without apology. Refuse to let the outer world distract you. Let it do what it does. Let the old self cry out for familiarity. Let the doubters murmur their disbelief. You keep your face set like flint, because your eyes have seen what theirs have not. Your soul has heard what theirs have forgotten. Your spirit remembers the truth, that the moment you give all of yourself to a vision, the universe gives all of itself to you. You will not need to beg. You will not need to ask twice. You will not need to force or plead or prove. The fruit does not argue its arrival. It grows because the seed was planted and kept. So plant well and guard that seed with your life. Your life is the garden, and focus, divine undivided focus, is the hand that tills the soil. So when doubt comes knocking, you answer with your vision. When fear whispers, you speak your truth louder. When nothing seems to move, you move internally into deeper stillness, stronger knowing, firmer assumption, and life will not resist you. It cannot. For life, dear one, is not happening to you. It is flowing from you. Every condition, every opportunity, every moment of serendipity, they are not accidents. They are the natural outcome of your inward alignment. So choose your alignment, choose your vision, choose what you focus on as though it were gold, because it is. It is the treasure buried in your own mind. And what you guard grows, what you embody arrives, what you bless with focus reveals its form. This is the mystery of creation made simple. This is the secret the world forgot. But you have remembered. So walk in it, live from it, speak it every morning with fire in your voice and certainty in your breath. I already am what I seek. I already have what I desire. I already live in the world I have chosen, and everything else must now reflect it. This is the way. And now it is your way. Go forth, not to become, but to unfold what has always been within you. For what you focus on, you will attract, and what you attract will change everything, forever. There is nothing more to become, only more to remember. You are not on a journey to find power. You are awakening to the truth that you are the power. There are no keys to search for, no gates to unlock, no permission to request from the world. The door has always been open, and the key has always been your focus. Your awareness, directed with feeling, is the creative force of the universe itself. It does not sleep, it does not pause. It is creating still, right now, this very second, through what you choose to dwell upon. So choose wisely No longer will you entertain images that rob you of peace. No longer will you speak of conditions you no longer consent to live under. No longer will you feed the illusions of lack and delay. You now walk with the clarity of one who sees the world as clay, molded by thought, shaped by emotion, animated by the quiet certainty of assumption. And the moment you give your full attention to something, not as a wish, but as a knowing, you fuse with it. And what you fuse with, you draw into life, not by might, not by noise, but by the still, immovable center of your being. This is the same stillness that moved oceans for prophets, the same stillness that whispered nations into being, the same stillness that has built temples, written scriptures, carved paths through the impossible, and it now stirs in you. So be still and know that you are the one who gets to choose, the one who gets to call forth, the one who gets to create. All creation begins with one sacred act, focus. And you are no longer a servant of distraction. You are no longer a captive of fear. You are no longer lost in the fog of someday. You are awake, you are aware, and you are aligned. You walk now not by appearances, but by vision. You speak not of what is, but of what must come, because you have decreed it so, and because you have focused on it with emotion, with clarity, with gratitude before sight. It has no choice. It must come. This is your authority. This is your mantle. This is your law. What you focus on, you will attract. And what you attract, you were always meant to receive. Now go and live as though the heavens had already answered, because they have. There is no more delay. There is no more when. There is only now. Now, where the seed is planted. Now, where the shift begins. Now, where the world unseen bows to the one who has chosen to see. You are not waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to hold the image long enough that change becomes inevitable. And so you do. You wake with purpose. You breathe with vision. You speak with authority. You walk in the end as if it were already behind you. And in doing so, you collapse time. You dissolve doubt. You bend probability. Because the moment your focus becomes single, the world becomes obedient. The moment your attention is no longer divided, your results are no longer delayed. There is no magic greater than this. A soul who remembers their divine right to choose and chooses to remain focused. Let others be distracted. Let others shift like the tide. But you stay in the state of the wish fulfilled. You live there. You breathe there. You wake each day and declare, I am it, I have it, I live it. And so it becomes real, not through force, but through the gentle, unshakable knowing that what you focus on with feeling must manifest. This is the thread that weaves all great lives. This is the echo behind every triumph. This is the quiet truth behind every so-called miracle. The world will call it luck. They will call it coincidence. They will call it fate. But you will call it what it truly is, the return of what you focused upon with faith. And now you don't just understand it, you embody it. So carry this knowing forward into the hours, into the silence, into the world. Let your focus be fierce. Let your assumption be final. Let your vision be clear, for your reality is no longer created by chance. It is created by choice, and you are the one who chooses, now and forever,